Welcome to Dark Docent. My name is Jake. Join me as I guide my friend James down the paranormal rabbit hole, attempting to prove the authenticity of a new case each week. Today's case: the Oakville Blobs. How was the 2 weeks I was away? What went on? Other than everything in the world happening at once.
What went on? This guy in Panama found an alien in a meteorite, and he's been growing it in a safe and a freezer. And I just saw today he put it in some water and let it go.
I saw that.
So we'll either never hear about that again, or we'll be hearing about that a lot next year.
Nothing's coming of that. I guarantee you that's fake.
You guarantee that it's fake.
Yes, I do. One, he's ripping off Spider-Man. Okay, it's a symbiote. Two, the way it moves like an animatronic.
Yeah.
Three, why has not a single government agency gone after him? Why has his videos not been taken down?
Maybe because of the geopolitical climate in Panama making it difficult. They're also still talking a lot about that meteor or whatever that's headed towards Mars.
Is it the meteor or 3-Eye Atlas?
3-Eye Atlas, the meteor.
The UFO or the alien spaceship they're talking about?
All of the above. It's everything.
Want me to tell you what that actually could be?
Spaceship?
Do you want to get super conspiracy about this?
Sure. Fuck it.
So all the UFO guys, like insiders, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, guys like that, are all saying that it's a distraction. We don't know from what, but we don't think it's real, and it's distracting us from something else. Have you ever heard of Project Bluebeam?
Yes.
Okay, so since you've heard of Project Bluebeam, you know the gist. Something's going to happen that's going to unite us make a one world government. I think that this thing, if it is anything, is something that will cause fear into the populace enough that we will trust a one world government. I think it's a part of Project Bluebeam. That's what I think. I don't think it's a legit alien spacecraft. And if it is, either or, I'm interested to see what will happen. And terrified.
Yeah, I mean, this one I've just kind of been like ignoring and being like, yeah, whatever. Just because, we'll see what we see when we see it. There's way too much speculation around it.
It did allegedly come from the Sagittarius system, which is the system that gave us the WOW signal. Wow! Have you ever heard of the WOW signal?
Yeah, Buddy circled a couple numbers and wrote WOW on the paper.
Yes, because it was a response sort of thing. It didn't match other frequencies.
Okay, so what else did you miss? They may have found evidence of life on Mars.
Yep.
That was something too. Okay, so we got the alien in Panama. We got the meteor. We got what else did
You had Mars having life.
Yes, life on Mars, which I said 3 seconds ago and forgot immediately.
That's okay.
There must have been something else in there. I think someone thinks that they found like a chunk of dark matter floating around in the Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah. A lot of shit happened all at once.
So that's weird.
Yeah.
If it even is, of course, like any of this shit.
Yeah.
If it is a chunk of dark matter floating around.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, there was that footage of the Roswell incident that came out.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Poor timing on that.
I know. Right after we do an episode. That's not the first time that's happened. We've done episodes before and other things where stuff comes out
also,
right after we release.
It's called footage, but it's essentially a still. They get zoomed in and zoomed out of. And it's just a hole in the dirt.
Yeah.
Too big of a hole for a weather balloon to make, but a hole in the dirt nonetheless. Zillennials in Nepal overthrew the government and held an election on Discord.
I didn't hear about the election on Discord.
That part might not be real, but I heard it a couple times.
Maybe it was like a faux election.
So shout out to the Zillennials over there. Lots of other protests and riots going on around the world right now.
It's kind of a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. Also, we lost Jeff Meldrum, which sucked.
For those who might not know, who's Jeff Meldrum?
Are you one of those who might not know?
Bigfoot. He Bigfoot related. He finds stuff Bigfoot. Wow.
Yes. So Jeff Meldrum was an anthropologist, And instead of laughing at the Bigfoot theory for the last 40, 50 years, he chose to apply his knowledge of anthropology to Bigfoot sightings and footprints and evidence. And basically, he was kind of a good bar test for what could be legitimate and what was most likely a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one that kind of looked at footprints and was the first guy to really scientifically analyze them and being like, okay, here's how you can tell if it's like one of those foot stampers or if it's a legitimate footprint made by something living. So he was the one who would do a lot of that. Real big in the Bigfoot community and a really big loss, honestly. He was very smart and intelligent on the topic, and he had a very open mind, which I appreciated. And in the episode that will never see the light of day, we mentioned Jeff Meldrum. He was the one who analyzed the Yeti footage that I showed you with him getting up in the snow.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the one who analyzed that, saying that it was most likely something organic.
It's too bad that episode will never be released because that's probably the most convincing Bigfoot story you could ever tell me.
It's actually not. I have so much ready for you, James. And I'm sorry that we're 20 episodes in and we've only done 2 Bigfoot cases.
3 if we count that one.
You just wait, sir.
Yeti or not, here it comes. Is today's episode a Bigfoot?
No, it is not. Today's episode's a bit of a strange one. I don't think you've heard of it.
There's a good chance I haven't, but there's a small chance I have. There's an even smaller chance that I know more about it than you do.
Oh, there's no chance of that. I have a story for you, James.
I'm ready.
August 7th, 1994. Oakville, Washington. It's about 3 in the morning. Officer David Lacey is on patrol with a friend of his, doing like a civilian ride-along, when all of a sudden, it begins to rain. Not unusual for the Pacific Northwest. It rains for about half the year in Oakville, with an average of about 60 inches per year. But there's something strange about this rain. It very quickly begins to obscure the view of Lacey's windshield. He decides to turn on his windshield wipers, but the rain didn't wipe off. The water smears like jelly across his windshield. So he decides to pull into a gas station. Eventually he finds one to wipe off this strange rain. He gets out, not knowing what this could be, and puts on a pair of latex gloves just in case. And when he goes to smear it with his hand, it scoops off. It's gelatinous, and he could squish it between his fingertips. This is a quote from David Lacey. The substance was very mushy. It was almost like you had jello in your hand, and you could pretty much squish it between your fingers. They both immediately knew that this wasn't right. The next morning, the residents of Oakville, Washington, woke up to find their town covered in small, gooey blobs. The blobs were about the size of a grain of rice, and everyone thought it was just a strange weather phenomenon. Until later that afternoon, Officer David Lacey started to feel ill. He went to the hospital, but he wasn't the only one. As the night went on, people began to file in to the hospital feeling sick. Patients claimed feeling dizzy, nauseous, trouble breathing, fever, blurred vision. And this sickness didn't last a couple days or maybe even a week. These sicknesses lasted months. And this wasn't the last time that this strange weather occurred. There would be 6 more instances in the next 2 weeks of strange, gooey rain. James, have you heard of the Oakville Blobs?
No, sir, I have not. You were correct. I do not know this one.
Have you heard of any sort of strange weather phenomena that could be matched to this?
I've heard of meat rain. I've heard of raining cats and dogs. Separate. I've heard of it raining like frogs and fish after like a tornado or something or a hurricane. I've heard of acid rain, light rain, heavy rain, atmospheric rivers, but no gelatinous blob rain. That one's new.
Okay, this is a really strange one, and honestly, it's often overlooked, but I find it incredibly interesting.
Okay, theory.
Theory? Already?
Oh yeah.
I haven't even told you nothing yet.
Cargo plane carrying a lot of powdered jello was flying overhead, and something happened. A lot of that jello dust got whooshed out of the plane and mixed with the clouds and jelloed up and rained down. And then that happened 6 more times. It was jello.
You know what?
Mhm.
That theory isn't actually the worst theory about this.
Good.
But the thing is that this wasn't really jello-y. It was
Okay.
translucent, and everything was kind of a singular drop about the size of a grain of rice.
Well, it was heavy. It wouldn't have time to come together in a big bowl of it and then fall.
You'll see.
Oh, okay.
I like that you're thinking.
Yeah.
I appreciate the thinking.
Not necessarily jello. It could have been gelatin. It's what the people back then used to put their peas and ham in. Like a gelatin casserole.
Brother, this is the United States of America. That's what they fought the war for. They don't want none of that shit here. A bit about Oakville, Washington. It's a very small town. Population of about 665 as of 1994. And it is like right smack dab in the mountain ranges in Washington, about 20 miles from the Pacific Ocean. The way locals describe it is it's a town, and all around you is woods and mountains for as far as you can see. Nothing's really nearby. As I said, over the next 3 weeks, there were 6 more instances of raining blobs within a 20 square mile area, and they were accompanied by a spike in hospital visits. And there are several witnesses that came forward talking about this rain. Here's some of the statements from some of the witnesses. Maurice Gobel, quote, "I got sick. My wife got sick. My daughter got sick. Everyone that lived in this town got sick." Another quote from Beverly Roberts. "Everyone in the whole town came down with something like a flu. A really hard flu that lasted from 7 weeks to 2 to 3 months." One of the more dramatic witness testimonies is that of Dottie Hearn. Dottie Hearn saw the blobs the first morning it happened, August 7th. She thought it was a buildup of hail, which in the summertime, that's strange already. But she went to grab it, and it mushed together like jelly. Later on, she started feeling unwell as well. The same afternoon, she was dizzy, nauseous, and had difficulty breathing. And her daughter actually came over to check on her that day and found her collapsed on her bathroom floor. Her daughter, Sunny Barclift, called an ambulance right away and got her right to the hospital. She was there for 3 days. This is a quote from Sunny. "She was cold, drenched with perspiration, pale. My mom had been vomiting. She had extreme vertigo. Her vision was blurring. And for some reason, as we were going out the door, I remembered the substance and wonder if it had some sort of effect on her." Now here's the weird thing. Think about all this stuff that happened, okay? The fever, the dizziness, hard to breathe. All very extreme things. Dr. David Little gave a diagnosis to Dottie. It was nothing more than an inner ear infection.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I could see how the dizziness and the vertigo could come from an ear infection. But, as you pointed out last episode, I was a water polo player.
Yes.
I have had tons of ear infections. Happened all the time. You get them wet, you go outside in the cold, we're in Canada, you get an ear infection. Ear infections really extreme, can make you dizzy. Not once have I had trouble breathing from an ear infection. Not once have I had a severe fever. Not once have I been nauseous. I've been dizzy from bad ear infections, but that's about it. Not all of this adds up to ear infection, although some of it could be part of an ear infection. In my opinion, I don't like the diagnosis the doctor made.
I mean, did she have an ear infection?
She may have had an ear infection. I don't know. But she didn't before this. The fact that it happened all after she grabbed the blob within a day is strange.
Could be a coincidence.
It could be a coincidence. It could be. But it didn't just affect people. It also affected animals. Many animals were found dead with green film around their mouths after ingesting some of the goo. Dottie Hearn's kitten died after touching the goo. However, the cat apparently did have health issues before this. But people's cows and horses in the area also fell ill after the goo had rained upon the town. And local resident Beverly Roberts claimed that 12 of her friend's animals died after the blobs rained down on Oakville. And when she went to go grab a sample, she found a dead frog and a dead raven with green film spilling out of their mouths. And after she collected the blobs, she came down with an illness as well. We actually have a few people that collected samples. We also have Sonny Barcliffe, the daughter of Dottie, and Dottie collected some too. And apparently, Dottie has a picture of the blobs. Would you like to see that picture?
I would love to see that picture. What year did you say this was? 74?
94.
94. There better be more than one picture.
There was only one picture, and we'll get to why.
Okay.
This picture was actually in the archives in the library of Oakville, Washington. So this is the one I find the most credible. There's a lot of other photos you'll find online. Even this one is somewhat alleged, but this one was actually in the records in the library of Oakville, Washington. Feast your eyes.
That is a gelatinous blob. No two ways about it.
Yes, it is. Now that's a little bit tricky. They weren't that big. That's just all of it scooped up.
Yeah,
and
it looks like several small things lumped together.
And you can kind of see as well, there's like little bits of grass and dirt in it, like they actually did scoop it off the ground.
My first thought was tadpoles.
And you weren't the only person who thought that. Lots of people have said a lot of things about what this could be.
It's Bob the Blob.
James just showed me a picture of Bob the Blob from, what's it called? Monsters vs. Aliens?
Something like that.
Well, it was not Bob the Blob. There's been lots of theories about what this could be. Instantly, people started saying it was frog eggs. However, this stuff was coming from the sky, and it had no black like dots in it indicating the eggs. So it wasn't really that. Some people claim that it was star jelly. Have you ever heard of star jelly?
Can't say that I have, no.
Star jelly is an old term from like the 17th century, and it was reported back to the 14th century. Basically, this weird jelly substance would be seen across the ground sometimes after meteor showers. It's not actually star jelly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a strange algae that forms, but it happened after sometimes meteor showers, and people would say it was from the meteors coming over the sky. An old term.
Huh.
Both of those are stupid because
Okay.
it was falling from the sky,
Right.
and it wasn't found like near a lake or anything. It was found on top of like wood piles, on top of people's roofs, on top of people's mailboxes, all over the place. Frogs aren't that horny, so
Probably not.
probably not.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. That'd be terrifying.
Frog men, though.
That's why the officer shot it last time. Nothing else to worry about.
So we got jelly.
Mhm.
We got sick people.
Yeah.
We have a photo,
Yes.
and we have people collecting it.
Yes.
When do we get to the analyzing it?
Right now.
Right now.
So the samples were taken to the hospital where everyone was getting treated. And Sonny Barcliffe asked, hey, since all these people are getting sick, I collected some of the goo. Could we test it and see if there's anything in it? Normally, this wouldn't be a thing the hospital would do, just taking a random sample from the public. But obviously, they thought this could tie with the sickness. So they said, yes, we'll do that. So they took it to the back and they put it under various microscopes, put on different tests. And they found something very strange about the blobs. The blobs contained human white blood cells.
Ew.
They didn't know what to make of that. They didn't know how human white blood cells could end up in this rain. It made no sense. So Sonny decided to go a step higher. And the hospital decided to go a step higher. They sent the sample to Washington State Department of Ecology Hazardous Material. When they sent it to them, they found a number of cells of various sizes from unknown creatures. However, they stated that the cells lacked nuclei, so they weren't white blood cells. But they also said they were unequipped to identify any biological cells. First glance, this is strange.
Mm-hmm.
Their opinion that there was no white blood cells. So they sent it to the Washington State Department of Health. And the Washington State Department of Health said they didn't find any blood cells, but they did find 2 bacteria. Bacteria they found, Pseudomonas fluorescens. It's a common bacteria, not harmful to humans, but it has been linked to pneumonia. The other bacteria they found was Enterobacter cloacae, which is also common, but it can cause infection in humans, but nothing this extreme.
Okay.
And both have been actually found in stomach contents of humans. And both of these actually thrive in wet environments, like the Pacific Northwest. Now, microbiologist Mike McDowell was one of the men who analyzed it, and he described it as, quote, "There was no structure we could see visibly or with a microscope." So, after all these tests, they find a bunch of strange bacteria, but as you go higher up the chain, they claim no white blood cells. Little suspicious, the closer you get to the government, the less damning stuff you find in the blobs.
Yeah, it's a little weird. You'd think that the hospital of all people would know if there were white blood cells there or not.
Yes, the hospital would know things, right?
Probably one of the few things they would actually know about
Yes.
a random blob is what white blood cells look like.
100%. And another weird thing that the State Department said was no white blood cells, but we aren't equipped to find any biological entities. So you're equipped to find no white blood cells, none of this, but you can't tell us what is there? Seems a little dodgy.
Yeah, and like with the bacteria, so they said they found the bacteria inside
In the blobs.
in the blobs.
Yes.
But no word on what the blob is yet.
They have no idea. No one has any idea what it is. It's weird. Like, I don't know. I've never heard anything like this where it rains blobs and the blobs have bacteria and things in it.
Well, I mean, it was presumably wet out because it was raining blobs, and I imagine there's some water in there too,
Yes.
perhaps. The bacteria you said is pretty common all around the area there.
Yes.
So, I mean, it could have gotten inside after it had landed.
Could have. Very much could have.
And this is one sample from one spot.
Yes.
So,
But there was other samples given. The other samples had these same sort of results because it wasn't just Sonny Barcliffe who had a sample. Beverly Roberts also had a sample, and Dottie Hearn also had a sample.
right, and they all handed them over to get tested.
I believe so, yeah. I believe at least Dottie Hearn and Sonny had their samples tested. I don't know Beverly for sure, but she did get a sample. But this isn't where the testing ends. We have more testing because Sonny didn't like some of the answers she was getting from the Department of Health, so she decided to get it privately tested at a private company. This company is called Amtest. About a year later, the blobs were tested again at Amtest Labs. Tim Davis was the man who analyzed and tested the samples on the fourth test. And he said something pretty freaky. Quote, "I saw what I think was a eukaryotic cell, which is basically a cell that has a definable nucleus and is found present in most animals. The goo might have been alive."
Strange.
Yeah, strange. And also, he found the definable nucleus, which would be in like a human white blood cell. So, what the Department of Health said was incorrect.
I assume this sample was frozen or something,
Yes.
so that it didn't just rot away.
It wasn't like given to Sonny,
Yeah.
sort of thing. Sonny froze it. She gave it to the hospital. Hospital went up the chain, came back to Sonny. Sonny gave it to them.
Right.
This was actually being taken care of and tested.
Yeah.
This was confirmed by another scientist, Michael Osweiler, who was also at the Washington Department of Ecology. This opposed the Washington State health findings that the cells had lack of nuclei. And Michael Osweiler had a 30-year-long career in this microbiology field, so he knows his stuff too. So he wanted to do more studying of this, wanted to find more things out about it, until one day he came into his office and the samples had all disappeared. And nobody knew where they went or who took them. Osweiler claimed in his 30 years with the Department of Ecology that this was the first and only time something under his care went missing. A little strange,
A little bit, perhaps. Why does it always seem to go this way?
because they don't want you to find out what it is.
I was
brother.
hoping you were going to be like, so he came back, he tested, he found DNA, they tested the DNA. Bob's your uncle. It's Bob the Blob after all.
Well, don't you find it insane that they found all these cells in it, though?
Blob's your uncle.
He's been losing weight. Don't make fun of him.
What was the question?
God damn it. Don't you think it's crazy, though, or just odd, that all these cells have been found in this blob?
Allegedly.
No, these
No?
were findings. This is real. This is actual findings released.
Okay.
These are scientific actual findings.
Yes, I do find that odd. Do you think that the blob got away? Do you think it did it on its own?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe that this was alive, as some people say. I do believe there were strange things in it. Also, there's something weird that Osweiler told his kids that they have come out and said. He wouldn't say this in public because he couldn't give a definitive answer. He thought the structure of the blobs were strange under a microscope. He thought it almost looked like they were built to have pockets, to disperse something, like an agent.
And they didn't want it to release until it hit the ground.
Precisely. That's something he told his kids. Never said it publicly. That actually leads us into our theories of what these blobs could be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you remember I told you earlier, your theory on the gelatin falling from the sky
Yes.
wasn't the worst theory.
Can we start with the worst theory?
Yes, we are going to start with the worst theory. This is not only the worst theory, it's the funniest theory, and it's actually the theory that was held the strongest by a few people in the local populace until everyone kind of immediately shot it down. Theory 1. It was jellyfish.
Okay.
At the time, the U.S. Air Force was doing practice bombing runs 50 miles away from Oakville in the Pacific Ocean during the week prior and the first week of the blobs. The theory is that the bombs blew the jellyfish sky high and shredded them to pieces. And those who weren't shredded enough got caught into the airplane engines and got shredded even more. They then floated in the clouds for the next week or so until the next precipitation, and then fell from the sky with the rain, causing a strange jellyfish-like goop to fall over Oakville.
It's not where I thought you were going with it, honestly, when you started.
What do you think of that theory?
I think I don't know if gravity works like that. I don't know. I think the jellyfish might not stay airborne for a week.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Where I thought you were going with that was they're on their practice bombing runs. They practice bombing Oakville with jellyfish.
You know what?
That's what I thought you were going to say.
You know what? Keep that thought in your mind, sir.
It is. It's building on my own theory. Don't you worry. 'Cause I've got another one.
Okay. Well, guess what? That theory is actually getting pretty close to mine. But
Probably not jellyfish shredded by plane engines hanging out for a week and then falling.
it probably was not. And actually, people did call McCord Air Force Base, which is the Air Force Base nearby Oakville, that was running these bombing tests. And Master Sergeant and spokesperson for McCord Air Force Base, Thaddeus Hosley, confirmed that these bombing runs were occurring. This did happen at the times they were stated. But he was also asked, does he think it could be jellyfish? And then was explained to him the jellyfish theory. To which he tried to hold his laughter but couldn't and began laughing and then replied, quote, I can't comment.
Blew those jellyfish sky high.
He legitimately just started trying to hold it and then just bursted out laughing about that.
Blowing something sky high is a figure of speech, not a literal thing that happens, I don't think. Unless it's that manhole cover. It's whipping through space at a bajillion miles an hour. But I don't know if you can blow a jellyfish sky high.
We obviously have to try.
Well, I think they did try.
Well, it didn't work, I guess. Or it did.
Or it did.
And we're just stupid for being ignorant.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I wasn't there.
You know what? This one time I won't get pissed about that. I also wasn't there. Theory number 2. Airplane toilet waste. So the theory is that a commercial plane dumped toilet waste all across this area.
Ew.
So Sonny Barcliffe got in contact with the FAA.
Mhm.
Asked them to investigate. And a representative of the FAA actually said that, quote, we don't know what it is or where it came from. It's a puzzle, end quote. But he also said the waste wouldn't be in a goopy translucent droplet. It would be blue and it would have covered all at once.
Yeah, and you'd think there'd be bits of toilet paper and logs and stuff in there.
Yes, and it also wouldn't be hours and hours of rainfall.
Yeah, over the course of a week.
Yeah. He also stated that it is illegal to drop waste over land like that. But as we've pointed out in the past,
Illegal stuff still happens.
yes. So, doesn't really debunk that, but everything else does. Theory number 3. Something I like to call the Jake theory.
Mhm.
Aliens.
Aliens. I thought you were going to say Bigfoot.
People claim that it was a new form of abduction technology to try to get people sick and then maybe take them aboard the craft through dumping a new kind of jelly across the town.
Okay.
I don't believe in this theory.
I don't think I do either.
No.
I don't think aliens would need to test.
No, they just kind of do.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd give much of a fuck if something worked. They wouldn't care if there was casualties.
They would clearly have everything already figured out.
They figured out how to get here.
Yeah.
But I do think the next theory is the most likely theory. And it's the one that I believe in. Theory number 4. Military biological weapon.
That's kind of what I was leaning towards.
Yeah. This theory claims that the US government was testing a new biological weapon on a small town to see the effects on the public. There is a military testing facility nearby. And weeks up to this event, black helicopters and black jets were seen flying over the town almost daily.
Black helicopters don't exist, Jake.
Black painted ones do.
Maybe. Debatable.
Google it.
No.
I will. Right now. 1 sec.
See, the only real time I'd heard of black helicopters was, I think, in elementary school, grade 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that. I don't remember from who. I don't remember why. I just remember them being described as black helicopters that fly so high you can't even really see them. And that was about all I knew about them. It was elementary school. We didn't have a lot of information back then.
You know what?
Mhm.
I might do a black helicopters episode with you just to show you.
I would appreciate that.
There's theories that they're organic. It's crazy. There's stories of guys shooting at them with assault rifles on boats. It's insane. You want me to sound like a crazy person? I'll do an episode of black helicopters on you.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. Please,
Okay.
Please.
3-parter. Let's go. Also, boom! Black painted helicopter.
More like a charcoal.
It's still black. How black do you want it?
That kind that absorbs like 99% of light.
Well, when the sun is behind it, it looks even more black.
Wow. Look at that. Okay, I stand corrected. There are, in fact, black helicopters dropping goo on Oakland.
Okay, I don't know about the black helicopter dropping goo, but there are black painted helicopters at least.
Mhm.
Anyway, another weird thing about all this and the black helicopters and the black planes, as stated, all the blob samples disappeared. We've gone over this. But not just disappeared, scrubbed. And here's what I mean by that. The Washington Department of Health claims that there's no record of the blobs, and they never got anything from it. However, these were tested multiple times by private companies that did put out the evidence that they did test them and their findings. So that's a blatant lie. Also,
What?
I know.
They're lying to us?
The government might be lying.
Fuck, man.
They might be fibbing, and they might be telling white lies to dance around the truth.
And here I thought in 1994 we were on the up and up.
We're here to find the fucking truth, brother. So, not only were they scrubbed from any sort of record, but both the hospital and the police station that held these documents closed down. They don't exist anymore.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, scrubbed.
Maybe it was aliens and they all got abducted.
More likely, someone pulled the plug on the whole goddamn town and anywhere that had documents. That's what I think.
Okay. What happened? Okay, so there were 3 little samples.
Mhm.
2 of them probably got given away to get looked at.
Yep.
What about the rest of the goo that was covering the town?
Just washed away.
Just washed away.
There was a YouTuber that went to Oakville to do his own investigation.
Yeah.
YouTuber name was Groovy Gavin. Apparently he does a lot of stuff like that. Only seen a few of his videos. But he actually asked locals, like on the and Oakville, if they remember it. And all the younger people around our age were like, yeah, we remember it, but like we weren't around. We just heard stories of it. And
Yeah,
lots of
well, around our age. That happened 2 years before we were born.
yeah, but like I mean, mid-20s to mid-30s sort of thing. But lots of the older guys said, yeah, no, this did happen. And people did get sick, or there were stories of people getting sick. Some people said it happened, but I never saw anyone get sick, because apparently it did do it in some select areas. And he went to the hospital, and they said, no, this isn't the hospital that treated people, which honestly, but look at the hospital, I don't know. It looked like a very new hospital. I don't know why he went to that one. Maybe it's just like the closest one. He's not a local, just went to a hospital. And also the police station he tried to find didn't exist anymore. It was gone. The address was gone. He also went to Amtest, the private company that was sent to it for the fourth test. He actually went inside the facility and asked the scientists and microbiologists behind the area where they were working,
Mhm.
do you guys remember anything about the blobs? And it was kind of a weird interaction. So Gavin asked them, and they both kind of side-eyed each other. And then there's a man and a woman. And they saw each other, and the man answered and went, we have no acknowledgement this happened or something. It was a really weird answer, the way he said it. It wasn't just like, no, I never heard of it.
A legal answer almost?
It sounded like a legal answer. It was very strange. Gavin just kind of walked out, and he said, kind of sucks you drove so long, and just so for a guy to say no. It was kind of funny, but he didn't believe. He was like, I think something's up. And honestly, his channel is kind of like, I think something's up, kind of a mystery guy. But I agreed. Like, I was watching the answer, and I was like, you wouldn't just say, like, no, I never heard of it, or, anything like that. The guy, like, they looked at each other and then gave, like, an answer that almost was written for them. And they said they have no recollection this happened or this ever happened. But we have the test results that it did. So something did happen. Yeah, so something's... I think it got covered up pretty quick and pretty well, is what I think.
Do they dispute that it's their test records?
No, they don't bring anything up about that. Like, nothing comes up for this ever. Like, this hasn't really been talked about. Like, this was a bigger thing in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it kind of stayed in Oakville. And if you remember, we talked about small towns. Like, it's really easy to cut things off when you didn't have, like, TikTok, YouTube, things to broadcast yourself. You just had to cut off one town. Scrub the hospital, scrub the police station, take the samples, it's done. It rains a lot in Washington. The rest of it will get washed away. And as we said, there was a testing facility near Oakville. And this would not be the first time the United States government had tested something on their own public.
No, probably not. Probably wasn't the last either.
Definitely wasn't the last.
There seems to be a testing station outside of each town in America.
Yes, more than you know. There's also secret missile silos in Canada.
Can't be that secret.
They were secret. It was back in the Cold War.
Right.
U.S. made an agreement with Canada to put missile silos in like Saskatchewan and like really rural parts of the prairies to fire things out. Like somewhere in like old rundown barns, like you see in movies and shit. In case there was a nuclear war, they could fire them at Russia. It was their closest point.
You're saying Canada does have nukes?
Allegedly.
Probably not anymore.
Probably not anymore.
I mean, they do lose a lot of them.
They do lose a lot of them. Like that one in BC that went lost. Did you hear about that?
One in BC here?
Did you not hear about that?
Oh,
fuck, I gotta tell you this. Okay, so back in like the early 50s, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
As I've said before in the podcast, I need to be researching this for a week before telling you because then I get everything right. So I'm gonna do it not verbatim. There was a test flight done over Alaska, sort of area coming down the Pacific, and it held a nuclear bomb. Well, the plane began going down. One of its engines went out, so they had to abandon ship. So what the pilot did is he put it in like almost like an autopilot or like a trajectory that it would land in the ocean. So it made the trajectory, jumped out, and they said they would just go find the plane after and get the nuke out. Well, searched forever, couldn't find it. Oh well, it's at the bottom of the ocean now.
Yeah.
So they just left it. Well, 20-something years later in the 1970s, another plane went missing. And it was supposed to be in the interior BC. They're going through the interior North BC, and they find a plane, but not the one they're looking for. A 1952 bomber. It was the one that was supposed to be landing in the Pacific Ocean, but instead of going west, it went east and landed in the northern part of British Columbia.
Easy mistake. The pilot thought you said west.
East? I thought you said west. So here's the thing, is they find this bomber, has a nuclear bomb still in it.
Right?
I don't know why they're testing it with active bombs, but it's there. So they call the US government. They're like, hey, we found your plane and it has your nuclear bomb in it. What do we do? Well, this was the 1970s. And I remind you, something else happened in the 1970s. A whale was beached, so they decided to blow it up with dynamite. So what do you think they did with this nuclear bomb?
They blew it up with dynamite.
No, they just blew it up.
What?
You can find the crater.
What?
Yeah, they blew it up. So they just said, let's just blow it up. So they blew it up. The crater's still there. You can go there.
What about the nuclear fallout?
What? No, it's fine. So they blew it up. It's right. You can find it. It's in the. You
keep pointing. You keep pointing to your door. There's nothing there.
I talk with my hands, motherfucker. So no, there's an actual crater in North BC, and you can find pieces of the plane and shit there still.
What?
Yeah.
On Wikipedia, it's saying the bomb did not contain the plutonium core necessary for a nuclear detonation.
They did blow it up though, and it was classified as a nuclear bomb.
Dummy capsule, they called it.
Oh, there you go.
Even though they said it was still full of uranium.
Yes. So I don't really understand, but it is a nuclear. There was uranium in it, and they did blow it up.
Oh, so containing a substantial quantity of natural uranium and 5,000 pounds of conventional explosives. Okay, well, that's not as bad then. I thought you were talking about a full-blown nuclear explosion.
Wasn't as big as like Fat Man and all that, but it was an actual explosion. Blew up a bomb with uranium in it. All that crap.
A team reached the site in 1954, retrieving classified components from the plane before blowing up the remnants. The bomb's uranium components were lost and never recovered. According to the U.S. Air Force, the plutonium core was not present. In 1997, the U.S. and Canada sent expeditions to check the site for environmental assessments. No radiation was found. The site was declared protected in 1998.
I think it was in the 70s. It was 20 years later when they actually found the actual site. Because it was by accident.
It says 1954 on legionmagazine.com / the lost nuke of British Columbia.
I think that's when the plane went down. But they did lose the plane. They thought the plane was in the
plane
ocean.
was in 90, was in 53, and they said they reached 53. The RCAF was searching for another missing aircraft and found the bomber, and then in 54 they recovered the components from it.
Okay, so the plane probably went down like 10 years before.
So when did it go down here? 49.
Okay, yeah. So. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the story of the nuclear bomb that landed in BC.
So they found it, they exploded it, they said there's no radiation, and then they made it a protected site.
Yes.
Does that mean we can't go there?
You can, I think, but you have to fly like a plane and then hike like a while to get there.
Yeah, it is definitely out in the boonies.
Yeah.
Just like most of Canada.
Yeah. Anyway, I think there's a lot of scrubbing done here. I think there's a lot of testing done here. And to me, it's extremely suspicious. What are you thinking about everything that I've shown you so far today?
As far as theories go, I was kind of along the same lines of theory number 4 there, which was some sort of testing on the civilian population. I mean, essentially, basically as described. I don't know whether it was planes directly dropping stuff, or if we're going even crazier with it. There's been lots of efforts over many years about like cloud seeding and weather manipulation. Not from like the crazy schizo side of things, but like the actual real stuff that they do.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if it was some test along the lines of that created the conditions. Maybe not with gelatin per se, but something like gelatin, because maybe they seeded the clouds with something similar so that it would congeal and blob down like that, along with a pathogen or something inside of it.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that they put some sort of cloud seeding in the clouds because they report almost daily for weeks up until this event. There was all this cloud seeding. And it's the summertime. Maybe it wasn't raining as much. And then they knew that this rain was going to happen. They aimed it for this time to see what would happen. And then the blobs happened. And then never really again. It happened 6 times more in a 2-week span. And that was it.
Well, I mean, mission success. It rained goo. People got sick. They learned. They scrubbed. Carry on.
Yeah. Well, with that,
would
you like to go to our conclusions?
Let us.
Let's do it. So, James, today, on the case of the Oakville Blobs, we have strange gooey drops the size of a grain of rice falling from the sky that made people sick, killed small animals, and made animals sick. It happened around 6 times more in the 2-week span And then never again, we have scientific analysis that showed human white blood cells, different bacteria, and eukaryotic cells, which show a nuclei and something alive in these blobs. We have the private testing done by Amtest Labs that saw eukaryotic cells, and it was corroborated by a second doctor at the Washington Ecology Lab. We also have all of the samples disappearing, being the only sample in Michael Osweiler's 30-year career as a microbiologist to go missing, and the only one to ever go missing. We have all the private testing that opposes the Washington State of Health findings that claim that there was nothing really too weird about it. We also have Osweiler's claims to his kids that the blobs contained little pockets almost for dispersing things. We have all the black helicopters and black jets that flew over the area weeks up to the event that people saw almost daily. And we have the fact that there's U.S. government testing facilities right near Oakville. And we have that not only that the samples disappeared, but also everything that touched the samples seemed to be scrubbed, including the hospital closing, the police station closing, all the documents taken from them, everything to not just erase the blobs, but the lines attaching them to the government, gone. So with all this, James, on our scale from 1 to 5, 1, I'm an idiot. 2, you're skeptical. 3, you're on the fence. 4, something strange that happened here. 5, the government tested a biological weapon on the public. Where do you come down to today?
Bit of a tough one. This part of me is like, whoa, they probably did. But then another part of me is like, but did it even ever happen?
According to a whole town, it did. According to the private tests, it did. I have pictures and I have scientific findings for you.
Well, you have one picture of someone with jelly in their hand.
And I have the scientific findings for you. I have
It's hard to believe that in 1994, an entire town witnessed it raining jelly 7 times in a week.
2 weeks.
7 times in 2 weeks, and no one was able to record or photograph anything other than that one thing of the jelly in the hand.
There is some other pictures, but I don't know if they're real or not. That's the only picture I showed you that was actually in the records at the library of Oakville.
Yeah.
That's
You think someone would be like walking out with their VHS camcorder being like, look at all the jelly on the car. Whoa. Well, submit this to AFV.
Well, another weird thing is it didn't fall over the whole town all at once.
Yeah, you said it was spots.
Spots within a 20-mile area. So who knows if it even fell on people in some points. Maybe it only fell on some animals. Maybe it only lasted a little bit. All we know is it happened 7 times. And it was tested by 4 different agencies, including the hospital, the state of health, the state of ecology, and a private Amtest lab. That all came back with similar findings, except for the Washington State Department of Health. I gave you hard evidence, brother.
Let's mix it up a bit. Where do you land today?
I land on a 5 out of 5 that this was a biological weapon tested by the U.S. government.
Right.
And I don't think it's that far-fetched to think.
No, probably not. I think today, like 3.5.
Are you serious?
Maybe a 4?
What? I gave you solid evidence.
Hold on. We might have to cut this. Am I able to find this report?
You can find the actual doctors talking about it.
Can we do that really quick?
Yeah.
It was very uniform. There was no structure that we could see visibly or with a microscope. I set it up on various microbiological media and attempted to isolate bacteria.
number 12876.
Nearly a year after Dottie Hearn's illness, she took a sample of the material that she had stored in her freezer to a private research lab.
I saw what I think was a eukaryotic cell, which is basically a cell that has a definable nucleus and is found present in biology, in most animals.
I would like to amend my previous score,
Okay.
and I want to say that I'm sorry for throwing a 3.5 at you so recklessly.
Apologies accepted.
3.6 is another fake score. It's not the real one.
Okay.
You know what? 5.
Let's fucking go! I knew it! I knew I could get you with this one!
You're peeking on my mic.
I'm excited! Hell yeah!
I think they made it rain biological sick jelly.
Fuck yeah, they did, brother! Don't trust your government! That's why! They will rain goo on you! That is what they'll do, and they will fucking make you sick! Fuck yeah, brother! I got you to 2 fucking 5s!
Uh-oh.
It hasn't been a year!
That's 1 per season.
Yeah! Let's fucking go, brother! Ah! I knew I could do it. All it took was the right amount of reenactments.
That, with some deeper thought, really thinking like, okay, pretty much guaranteed did get a gelatinous-y over there at that time. Someone likely did test it, and a lot of people apparently got sick.
Tested 4 times. Only one of those companies said they never tested it.
Yeah.
When you said in Roswell, all
Yep.
we need is an alien, all we need is a saucer, I took that to heart. And I was like, we have pictures of the drops, and we have the testing, we have hard evidence. That's what we got, brother. Anyway. Thank you for listening, everybody. We got James to another 5. We got 2 5s within the first year of this podcast. That is more than I thought we'd ever get.
Hey, as far as some of these stories go, these ones are pretty, the 2 5s they've given are, I like to think, believable. Big snake in the jungle, and jelly rain dropped by the United States government.
I agree. Thank you for listening, everybody. I am absolutely stoked I get James to another 5 today. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook for case photos and updates. And you can also follow us on TikTok for updates and entertainment purposes, at least. Some people like it. The link is in the description of every episode that we release. If you enjoy what we're doing here, remember to rate and follow on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, wherever you are listening to these days. It goes a long way. Share with your friends. Word of mouth is the best advertisement, and it's free. And if you have any case submissions, or if I've missed something and you'd like to politely correct me, our email is darkdosenpod@gmail.com. With that, James, any words to the wise?
If you look out the window and it's raining cats and dogs, or gelatinous blobs, or any kind of meat or animal matter, probably don't go out and touch it. Let the rain wash all that away before going outside, perhaps. Might just save your life.
Wise words from a wiser man. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Thank you.